Hello, thank you for tuning in. My name is Larry Duncan Allen. This is No More Water. Bye. Next time. Notice on my caption, my title it says about blacks being given a minority status has hurt us, and it has. And I'll tell you why. At first, after the Civil Rights Movement, black people had started making a lot of gains. Things were mostly known as black and white. What happened was they changed they put the minority label on us, and that included a whole lot of other people and what we were gaining. Excuse me for 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, thank you for staying with me. I just want to straighten something out real quick. Um, when the minority label was put on us, that included other people in on our any gains that we would make. See, the way that it's always been, when we suffered by ourselves. When we were discriminated against by ourselves. When it come time for us to benefit, everyone else has to be a part of our benefits. The one thing I didn't like, even that Joe Biden said, he was running for president, he said, if black people get reparations, the Indians has to be included. But many of what did they have to do with slavery? Matter of fact, many Indian tribes had black slaves themselves. So why should they get part of our reparations for having our ancestors in slavery? That didn't make any sense. But if you ever notice, anytime it comes time for us to benefit, everyone has to be in on it. But we were being discriminated against or suffering, we had to do that by ourselves. When they start calling black people minorities, that put in the people of color, the Latinos, the homosexuals. I don't say no LGBTQ, it's homosexual. I'm not gonna make it sound good, pretty it up. But look, and what happened was when affirmative action came, we didn't benefit a lot, but it did benefit black women some, and it was good that it did. It didn't really benefit black men at all. So like they said now that the government, they're going after black women, firing them. They're after black people. It seemed like they're after black women because the black women was overrepresented on federal, on government, and even state and local government jobs. On government jobs, period, which all of them tied into budget cuts and policy changes. They can change upon you. Because, see, when they started affirmative action, it started out for black people. Then they soon included minorities, which included white women. And white women, if you look at, they are the largest single demographics in this country. If you separate everyone, so they were even included. So what happened was black women were seen as a double minority. Why hire a black man when you could just hire a black who's a woman? And that's why it seems like they're after black women, but they're after black people. and and it was good that the black women were able to get those jobs. You have to get what you can. And if the black man couldn't get it, you happy that somebody, some one of us could get it. But and see that usually would happen. They want to get in on our rewards, but they never took part in the suffering. So and also what's happening a lot, even more white women has lost their jobs because they were the ones who benefited the most from affirmative action. And see, affirmative action, black people benefit were like 1% at the highest. The highest was women, and then you had people of color, everybody just thrown in there together, which now left who as the minority? The white male. If you had set 17% set aside and everyone else is in there who are now the majority, how much is that minority getting, that white male? 83%. But people never stop to look at that. They only look at the people. See, people, when it comes to such matters, they usually look at who the people they don't like is getting. They don't look at who the people they like is getting. They look at what the people who they don't like is getting. And President Lyndon Johnson said, if you if you can teach a white man that he's better than the best a white person, that they're better than the best black person, you can pick their pockets. If you teach them to if you teach them, oh man, I'm getting my phrase, and I said it I don't know how many times. Say, oh, and if you teach them to hate them, you can you can pick his pockets for you. He'll open his pockets up for you. But see what happens is that's what they did. They put a black face on affirmative action, and that made it appear as though it was a black thing, but it wasn't. See, DEI, that was just a rebranded form of affirmative action. A matter of fact, I never heard of DEI until Trump got in office. Show you how much I pay attention to that. Because, but yeah, we can't. Everyone want to get in on our reward, but never on our suffering, which we never got any rewards. But when they think we're going to get something, now, do you know that now the Jamaicans and the people down in the Caribbean now, they always came here and said, we're not black, we're this, we're that. Now they want to claim to be black. I guess maybe to keep them getting deported. But they think something may be coming our way. But if it does, they had nothing to do with black slavery in the United States. They have to go see Spain about that. Spain had them captive. So I'm not thinking about them. They better go get their own and leave our money alone. But I doubt we even get it. But if we do, we want everyone else to stay out of it. They wanted to stay out of everything else about us. They come here, they hate us. We have more trouble with the Latino and the black immigrants than we do with the European immigrants. They're usually nice. They usually are. They're usually nice. That's what net running across my lens. Yeah, but because I know when I lived in LA, I got along fine with the Armenians, the Ukrainians, and any of the immigrants from Europe, those from Britain, the ones who didn't have want anything to do with black people, were the Latinos, the Africans, the black people, the black Mexicans, the people from down in South America. They didn't want anything to do with black people. And then later they were told all type of things about black people. We were told things about them, but we didn't jump on that. We tried to get them to know them for ourselves. I tried to talk to some Jamaicans when I was out in LA, trying to learn about Jamaica. They turned me off so nasty and cold. I just left them alone. I talk to people from Denmark. They sit. They'll come and have a conversation with you. And the Africans, oh, they just wouldn't have anything to do with us. They say come back to Africa. I considered it. I don't want to get over there and we get over there and maybe we're trained a little better, get better jobs and they want to. Man, that ocean is too far to run. At least here we know where to run. Over there we don't know where to run. And they turn on us. But yeah, we can't let other people come and take what's ours. And see what's happening now. I don't think a lot of this racist agenda is going to work because what it depends on is the majority of white society going along with it, but they're not. We have more white allies than we do any other people. Matter of fact, I told you before, they took over Black Lives Matters for us. There wasn't that many people, black people in numbers, marching in Black Lives Matters. I told you I should live stream some of the events, and with that one big event, I couldn't find a black person there, except that once you got left the stage, there wasn't a black person there. When you rode down the street from going from the in the black side of town, you saw a Black Lives Matter sign here and there. When you got to the white area, you saw one in just about every yard. Cause see, white people who live around black people. Let me show you something that I noticed. White people, let me start at this point. The white people who don't like black people, hate black people, are the ones who don't even live around black people. They come on social media talking about it, and they don't even be around black people. But the white people who live around black people, they're usually the liberals. They're usually the ones who help back up black people in many things. And see what they're doing now, these policies they have, they're hurting white people. They're hurting other people. And I'm gonna tell you about white people. They're not like us. You let them keep on hurting them. They don't believe in no we shall overcome. They're not gonna be out there singing we shall overcome tomorrow. I have a dream. They'll tear this country up. They did it before back in the 19th century. They tore Washington D.C. up over some jobs. They're not like us. You're messing with the wrong folks now. We've been trained with that passive stuff. They're not passive. As a people, they're diabolical. As a people, we're nice, maybe too nice. Individually, we jacked up. As a people, we've been the moral conscience of this nation. Wouldn't anyone have the rights they have if it wasn't for black people? The only people who would be celebrated like they're trying to do now is white people. But black people changed all of that. But see, the thing about it, as a people, white folks not going for it. You firing their wives, taking their farms, and the black farms are virtually untouched. You know why? The black farmers didn't get government subsidies. He couldn't get the loans the white farmers got. He had to buy his equipment. When I say there, because that's female farmers too. Maybe not as many, but there are some. But they had to buy their equipment. They had to pick. They weren't getting those contracts to send soybeans and all that to China. They had to plant crops that they can make and have mechanized machines to pick their crop, and so they didn't need the immigrants to come and pick their fruit or pick their crops. So what they meant for them for bad turned out for their good, and ended up being bad on them because see the black farmers they couldn't get the remember during COVID when the white farmers got the COVID relief and got all type of loans and the black farmers couldn't get it. And this was under Biden. the black farmers sued to get the money. The white farmers countersued and said they want some of the black farmers' money. When you already got your money, they didn't get none of yours. They just threw the suit out. Now, how you gonna win a suit and they gonna throw it out because somebody else don't like it? I never seen or heard of anything like that before. But see, the so what happened was the black farmers they made do anyway, and they're doing fine right now. I even heard some white farmers say, "Oh, we should have listened to the God of the black people, the black farmers." If you talk that silly, you don't even know what a God is. God of the black farmers. You said you was a Christian, and when he's supposed to be your God too. So evidently you lying somewhere there. But see, that's why I don't have the compassion for those white farmers. They got all the government subsidies. A lot of them became millionaires. You see, they've always been propped up by the government. And a lot of that land that they are owned, was taken from black people and given to them. And they had it for generations, making generational wealth. And then when the black people have to get on welfare, you want to laugh at them. Which, by the way, let me start on that. Now that a lot of this has come out and other people are suffering, they're telling the truth. They find out that there's so many white people on welfare getting food stamps than they had reported, and far less black people. I know people who work at the aid offices. They say that there's so many white people on food stamps, which I see nothing wrong with food stamps. I need to go get me some more. You know why? Part of the reparations. I say, black folks, anything you can get from the government, you go get it. They don't want to give you a reparation, give what little you can. I can go sign up again. If I can get me some, I want to get anything I can get. And you should have paid those reparations. So any of y'all that want to go get some food stamps, go get them. I may be in line with you. And we see, look there, and there's this. You wonder why, and these now they're telling why these Arab and Asian businesses, now these people can come in our community and not our people. This Asian woman was telling, say, when they go to get a loan, they're told they can get the loan, but they have to open a business in a black area. But she said, at the same time, the black people can't get the loan. They're trying to keep us from wealth. They don't want our money to turn over in our economy. Because black people, this thing about black people being lazy, you can't have over $2 trillion spending power, which is what more than many nations in the world have. You can't have that and be lazy. And there's not no welfare money. The government not giving out no trillions of dollars to black people in welfare. That money come from work. You can't have that and be lazy. And they're talking about it going up to 3 trillion. But and that I say spending power. That's not all of it. That's just spending power. And you can't have that kind of money. You can't get that kind of GDP by being lazy. I tell you who is lazy. The people who had to bring slaves over here because they were too lazy to pick their own crops. Then when black people said they're not picking no more crops, they had to go get some immigrants, have them to pick it. Now that the immigrants are not here, they think the black people are supposed to come in. Why come you won't do it, Mr. Hard working white folks? Why come you all won't do it? The only time the black people had to build the plantation farms, had to built the White House. You see all the buildings down south. They say black people they built the ones in the north, but they were paid to do it. But you know when the white folks started doing that type of work? When machines was built to help out. But when they had to get out there and do that back brick and work themselves, they were too lazy. And when it came time to build a railroad, you had to go get the Chinese to do that. So when are you going to start doing some hard work and stop being lazy? Get your people out there to pick that fruit or let it rot. As long as the black farmer stuff is okay, I'm good. Because you had your chance to do right by them and you wouldn't. So you may lose your farm, maybe a black person get their land back. You may lose your house, well, get your tent. Move in with some of your folks. You may lose your land. You don't have nobody to pick the crops anyway. Some black folks can come get it. Or J.D. Vance, you know he has a farm company. He's happy that you're going out of business. I don't care if you lose your dog. You won't be able to feed them anyway. You won't be able to feed yourselves. So a lot of people say, oh, they talk about, a lot of people often you say stuff, they want to start on you, make it about you. Oh, you hate white folks. If that's what you want to believe, believe that. I talk about systematic stuff. But if you and white folks talking against us, they talking about us as a people. Black people, we talking about the system of hate. But if I wanted to hate white folks, I can hate them if I want to. I'm not saying I do. I'm saying if that's what I want to do, I can do. Don't tell me who to like or who to hate. I got too much going on inside me to be around here want to hate folks. That's your game, not mine. I say what happens. And I say how I feel about it. If you want to call it hate, be my guest. Because I know many white folks who beg to differ with you, who know me personally. And see, but look, like I was saying before, we have we have they're trying to get in on, when they made us minorities. That was strategic, so that we wouldn't benefit anything. So all those people in with us, and the 17%, white women getting most of it, and now the white man all by himself with 83%. But people never look at that. Then he comes and try to get part of that 17%. He got those white women in. Open up in his wife and daughter name. But see, those white women suffering now. See now this is another reconstruction period. Every time black people start gaining, we go through a reconstruction period to hinder our growth. But it's not working that good this time. It's hurting everyone but us. It's hurting, and it's got to be bad when white folks talking about the God of the blacks. They got to be suffering. We should have listened to black folks. Now, you don't have to listen to us. Keep on like you were going. And we're coming to your ruins and take your stuff. We ain't taking no prisoners this time. Because you know why? Those white farmers talking about the black farmers are doing well. We ought to burn their farms down. Don't that sound like Tulsa to you? Rosewood all over again. They haven't changed. Instead of when you was doing good and block the black farmers out of that, they didn't talk about burn yours down. And you black farmers, you sit there let them folks burn your stuff down. Something's wrong with you. You got gas. You got fire, just like they do. You put on the hood just like they do. I got time to play with these folks. And you say, I'm talking about tit for tat. Yeah, that's right. I go tit, tit, tit for tat, tat, tat. Now I go tit, tit, tit for tat. I got to hit you harder than you hit me. When you retaliate, you hit a person harder than they hit you. And if they talk about doing it again, you may have to go on the offense. We're waiting to see what they're going to do. These people been calling us the same names for 400 years. They haven't changed. If you notice, we don't even have any racist name we call them anymore. We was calling them some names back in the 20th century because of the stuff they were calling us. But we dropped that. We grew up. They didn't. It's still like racial infants. Still on time you see you on social media. Got some more hateful stuff to say. Then when we bring up race, we playing the race card. Well, I tell them if you stop putting it in the deck, it can't get played. But we talk about whatever we want to. They do. Then you have the goody two shoe white person come on up. And when black people start firing back, they come on the black folks. Oh, we're all one race, we're all one people. You never heard them telling the white folks that when they make those little crazy comments about us. I always gonna go tell your people that. Anytime black people on the offense, they try to soften it down. We can smack you, beat you, stomp you, but when you respond, you gotta be peaceful. That's why I tell you I don't protest. Because I want to mess y'all protests up. Because I don't believe in peaceful protests. You cannot black my eye, kick me in my butt. And I can't read when time to come to the negotiating table. I can't sit down because my butt hurt. I can't see what's going on because my eye black. And you sitting there and you sitting there untouched. Now I gotta do put some hurting on you. Then we can negotiate. We gotta stop this passive stuff. And I'm telling you, and then don't try no Rosewood and no Tulsa now. You gonna get Rosewood and Tulsa. You'll be talking about instead of 100 years from now, like we talking about Tulsa, you gonna be talking about Scraggly Junction, Hillbilly Road, where you used to live. And black folks took care of that. Cause and not to get off subject, but look, these people talking about having their own little towns. They already got them. Look, they're all over the United States. Black people only live in the large. Most black people in this country live in large metropolitan areas, and we're congested. In a few southern states they may live in outlying areas, but by and large, we almost live in I think it's like 26 urban areas of this nation. And now I can even show you where it even distorts the crime rate. But look, we and so you can go all over this nation. White folks already got their own all white towns, all white cities. You don't have to build any new ones. And the ones new ones they talking about we don't want no black people there. Talking about they gonna go to cabin building and raising sheep and goat herd. Now you actually think we want to come there for that mess? Come on, no black people can no. We want you to make sure you exclude us off of that. The one they call the sundown towns, where are they at? I don't know. None of us know. You know why? Because most of the little towns black folks wouldn't go to anyway. We wouldn't even be cut that sun up, let alone sundown. We're not following y'all around. The only reason people went for integration is because every time we tried to have our own, you wouldn't let us have it. So people like Martin Luther King said, if we can't have our own, then we're going to have to be a part of yours. We're paying taxes for libraries that we can't use, parks that we can't use, for schools that our kids can't go to. So we can't have our own and be just as good as yours. You keep burning ours down, we're going to have to come be a part of yours. Now, many black people want to resegregate. Then they get angry when we talk about we want to resegregate. What do y'all want? Well, I really don't care. I care about what we want. You see, when I was talking about the urban areas, I can show you how that even distorts the crime rate. Okay, by black people living congested in urban areas, and the FBI crime statistics says that um, it shows how many, it shows the crime rate. But do you know what? It's not actually showing the crime rate. Do you know what it's actually showing? Arrest. Who do they arrest the most? Black people. And you know what it also says? Most black people who are arrested are exonerated. Sometimes they'll pick black people out up and let them go in the morning. But that goes into the crime statistics. Those roadblocks they set up. Have you ever noticed have you noticed how a lot of times when you see a white person doing something, you hear black people say, um, man, if that was a black person, they'd be taking him to jail by now. They arrest black people to pad the arrest record. Then the FBI report. You can look it up for yourself. The FBI report, look it up for yourself. They put it down as a crime. And most of them don't be anything but misdemeanors anyway. When they do arrest a black man, say he has a long record. Yeah, a lot of traffic misdemeanors, but they don't tell you that part. They make it seem like as though he been out here robbing, stealing, and killing. And that long record is nothing but misdemeanors. And then, but when they say the arrest, uh, how you see on television a lot of black crime, you know what happens? Like I said, black people live congested in large metropolitan areas. White people are all over. I mean, what black person live in Wyoming, North Dakota, Montana? Then they said Maine is the whitest state. Man, Iowa's in the top five, and they have a high crime rate of the whitest states. And they have a high crime rate. But look, if you have the majority of these people live in the urban areas, in the cities in the state. That's why you see when the Democrats win, you see the whole state is red, except when you get to large metropolitan areas. And that's how the Democrats win with the large metropolitan areas. The outlying states are all red. And around the excuse me, metropolitan areas is blue. What happened? Okay, let's look at this. If you got all these black folks congested, not all over the state like others are, let's say let's take Illinois. Tonight, there's 20 murders in the outlying areas of Illinois. Say 25 murders all over the state in Illinois, in those other areas. 5 in Chicago. Which one are you going to hear about all over the news? That 5 in congested Chicago because it's around the media, news network outlets, and it's more congested. And that's what gives you that distorted picture. Black crime, it said the FBI report said that 90% of black crime is committed by less than 2% of the same repeated offenders between the ages of 14 and 22. Okay, what happens when they start getting in their 20s? 3 things can happen. Went to jail, got killed, got a job. Their mindset changes. Most of them, it's always going to be some. But let's look at the other demographics. Before I go to that, which shows, but if you know, in working class black communities, there's very little or no crime. Working class on up, very little, no crime. It's like they say St. Louis is crime capital, but crime is not all over town. There's some parts of St. Louis that's very safe. It happens in pockets. And then look at all the surrounding cities around it where people work, virtually crime free. So it shows that crime among black people has to do with economics, not because they're inherent to crime because they're black. But let's look at the other demographics. They can be working, they can even be rich, doing very well, yet they're still committing crimes. Look at January 6th. How many young folks you out there saw out there in that? Those are old people. Look at the white biker gangs. Look at their gangs. Long gray beards. Grandpas who be at home bouncing their grandbaby on their knee. And they're out there in a gang. Look at the people at January 6th. Now, would you find some black people that age out there doing it? Those were state senators, representatives, policemen, firemen. Out there doing that foolishness. Policemen trying to kill other policemen. There was one woman flew in on her private jet to join that mess. As I said before, now, what black woman you know who can afford a private jet, who would be out there joining that foolishness? If anything, she'd be on that jet over to Paris doing some shopping or something and sit out there in that. The people in that age demographics among black people were not to get caught doing any foolishness like that. But they did it. Most crimes among black people has to do with economics. Not because you black people are just violent. We didn't go around the world killing everybody, taking their land, and kill more people in the last 300 years than all other races combined in the history of the planet. That's not us. That's them. So don't ever let anybody make you think that what we do has to do with us being black and it's bad. Because we got a lot of black people who think like white supremacists. And we don't really like each other that much. We don't. Well, if a white person does something else, we get strategic. Black person, we beat them down. I told you about how the Asian man hit the black woman in the mouth, and the brothers went out there and was was boycotting him. It was a beauty supply shop. The Asians offered a 50% sale off, 50% off everything. Those black women said, forget that boycott. There had lines almost around the corner, go in that man's shop. And the brothers tried to help him. The brothers in there said, where the man at? But see, getting your weaves and your lashes and your nails was worth more than you being a black woman. But you know what? The brothers didn't do it right. Because you know why? If that was a black shop owner, there wouldn't have been no boycott. Her male family members would have went up in that man's store, wore his head out, and tore his store up. See, we'll come at each other physically like a hurricane. But when it comes to these other people, we get strategic. You're scared to mess with them. Do to that Asian man what you would have done to a black man. How come his wife still got teeth? We're cowards when it comes to other people. We're tough with each other. But we go into the same. See, we've been in this country, and there's a white supremacist ideology in this country, nation. You heard, I heard, we all do it. Sometimes I have to check myself. We hear the same stuff that they hear, and it caused many of us to hate us. You get black people in private talking with each other. We say stuff that'll make a Klansman blush. Stuff we say about black people. Because we've been trained to think that way. Like I said, sometimes I have to catch myself and I know better. Because I came, I heard the same ideology. Look, when I was coming up in school, we didn't be reading nothing about no black people. Except that idiot named Crispus Attucks, who was the first person to give his life in the Revolutionary War for War of Independence, whichever one it was, giving his life for the white folks. They probably stepped all over his body. I don't like going by probably, but that was just saying that just to add it to it. But the thing is, I mean, but that's the only black person I ever saw in the history books when I was in school. And you know what? I came at a time when they didn't even talk about slavery in your house. I didn't learn about slavery until I became high school age. Excuse me. And that's pitiful. I didn't know nothing about slavery until I became high school age. They didn't talk about it at home. And you know what? Many black people who knew about slavery, remember when Roots came out and a lot of black people got real angry? Even the ones who knew about slavery didn't know the depths of it until Roots came out. That's why I say anything that's coming our way, nobody else not getting in on that. No, we keep our stuff for ourselves. We got to start thinking selfishly and stop wanting to share for everybody, help everybody. See how angry people are with us because black people not marching? And when we was marching, they laughed at us when we was marching for our cause. Even the Latinos. Do you know why the Latinos in the shape they're in? The Latinos and the Africans and all of them said that they thought we were immigrants. Do you know a lot of people actually believe? See, they're now calling us foundational black Americans. They're dropping the African stuff because those people trying to get in on our reparations. We was to see how can we be immigrants? You immigrate to another country, right? This wasn't a country when we came here. We helped to found this. We helped to build this. We was here building this long before it was a country. So how are we immigrants? So what happens is they thought we were immigrants and we were thugs and gangsters. They thought we was going to be deported. Then they'll be here to live off the fruit of the land. We're not immigrants, you are. We helped build things in this nation. Helped to build it up to where it is now. Like I said, white folks didn't start doing no heavy work until they built some machines to help out. But we helped to build this. So we're not immigrants, you are. We did the building, and the rest of you came, including ones from Europe. You came to live off the fat of the land. The Africans and the Latinos and the Haitians calling us immigrants. We were the immigrants they thought was going to be deported. You'd be so stupid. So that's why you voted for Donald Trump. The Cubans wanted the Haitians deported and the Mexicans. So the Cubans thought they were white. Most of Cuba is black. But we look at the ones you see here, though. Did they look black? Many of them had to go back to Cuba and never been there before. I don't feel sorry for none of it. Haitians gonna vote for Trump after you tell about you stealing the pets, eating the dogs and the cats, and you gonna still vote for him. Now you're gone. on your way out or hiding somewhere. These Mexicans bringing their flea markets to our town. They used to be out there in Fairmont City. Don't come out in here hiding. Don't hide these people up in here. We don't want them folks running up in here. Don't hide them people. They wouldn't hide you. They always made fun of us. I lived in LA around them. They hated black folks. Still do. They's in trouble now. When people need your help, everybody like you. At least act like they like you when they need your help. But look, you see, yeah, we thought they was going to deport the black people. The Africans thought that too. They're deporting them. Man, now maybe since they got here, they know how to use some deodorant for a change. They can really cut up. But look, the but we can't let people in on our stuff. We got stuff. We have to cut that out. They're angry at us because we won't march, we won't protest. And see these people in D.C. and everywhere. See, we're not coming out, so they're trying to bring it up in our areas. Now, St. Louis is safe, even though it's the number one crime city. It's safe because it's in a red state, and now they have a white mayor. They only send these forces into blue states, excuse me, into blue states with black mayors. And so we're going to excuse me for a second. Let me take a quick break. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, now like back to my subject. When they then started putting us in the minority status, that was just another dirty trick to keep us from getting anything. They put every dirty trick they can in the book on us that they can on us. So that's why they're not bothering us any. Everything they pull, been there, done that. And the immigrants, they crying for us. The Latinos, look, what they're doing to you, they've been doing to us for 500 years. You didn't see them uh, 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 pulling black people over, arresting them for nothing, beating black people in the streets, killing them. You laugh. Cause many of them were Latino policemen. He should have complied. Well, are you complying with ICE? They don't even give you a chance to comply. They grab you and just bust your head and throw you in the van. Your women too. They're even beating white women now. White folks not gonna take that mess too long. They're not like us. They're not for no. I told you, they're not gonna come with no peaceful protest and we shall overcome stuff. They're not worried about no I have a dream. Yeah, I told you they'll tear it up. I don't blame them. We took too much physically. I said, oh, but see, it's too many of them. How many people you know about a greater force than mine? I told you this in another show that I did. Look, if you look at most armies, and even the United States Army, they're not very good with boots on the ground. These people are supposed to be mighty armies. Every war since World War II that the United States or Europe has been in, they went in with firepower, killed a lot of people, had the mightiest army, but they didn't achieve their objective. They're not good with boots on the ground. They went into Korea. That's why they bomb. They want to bomb you from there, have air superior. That's why Israel is bombing Palestine. They're afraid to go there and fight Hamas because the last time they did, Hamas served them up very well. Richard Nixon told them that Israel better achieve peace with the Arabs before they learn how to fight. The last time that Israel went to Lebanon and fought Hamas, the Israeli soldiers was coming back saying, "Oh, these guys can actually fight now." That's why they're afraid to go in there now. They have to bomb you from the air, fight like cowards. In Korea, the objective was of the United States is to make Korea all democratic. They were still ramming democracy down people's throat, and now we don't even have it ourselves anymore. Some people feel bad doing all that fighting for democracy, and then just find out most of this nation don't even want to be a democratic government anymore. All those lives lost. Now the Korean War is still going on. Really, it's just an armistice. They just signed an armistice. That's all. That's why you have all those soldiers over there, and you have the demilitarized zone. So they didn't achieve the objective there. Vietnam went over there, killed all those people, had the mightiest army, could annihilate the nation, but who said they were fighting against the Viet Cong? Who's in control of Vietnam now? The Viet Cong. They went into Iraq to run but they really wanted to kill Gaddafi because he was kind of helping revolutionizing Africa to be self-sufficient. Because every leader that tried that in Africa was killed. They killed the president of the Congo because he nationalized the oil. Same what they did in Iran. When they installed the Shah of Iran and had the other president thrown in jail where he died because he was nationalizing the oil. But look, in Iraq, what government is done now? It's just open country with a lot of trouble. They ruined that nation. In Afghanistan, what did they want to do? Run out the Taliban. The longest war over there for 20 years. Who's in control of Afghanistan? The Taliban. So what objective have they achieved when they've had boots on the ground? Not one. Not since World War II. And you only won that with superior air power. Even Japan recognized, say, damn the United States with their superior air power. And that's why you see all they want to do is bomb people. Because they know if they put boots on the ground, they're not going to achieve their objective. And if they try that here with us, we're not going to be the only one they fight. They're going to have to be fight some white folks and some other folks. We're not going to be by ourselves. I don't think so. Matter of fact, I almost know so. Because they got their militia in the government now. You know, the Proud Boys and the KKK and all them people say they don't hear from them anymore. They're not marching anymore. They said we don't have to. We're in the government now. Those ICE agents you see, the head hood on their head, that's who you're dealing with. Remember Trump told them to stand by and stand back and stand by? Well, that's their slogan now. Stand back and stand by. That's what he was telling them. See, he meant to do this. The reason he was so angry and didn't want to leave the White House when Biden won, he meant to do this in his second term. We're actually 4 years behind what he actually meant to do. But he lost. So we're 4 years behind in his agenda. Let me tell you, Trump is not running this government. Trump is too dumb to think of the things that's going on. He's got other people doing this, and he's just there. They're doing it in his name. People like Stephen Miller. He can even hold on to his wife. Musk came and took his wife home with him. And and that speaker, I forget, I don't remember his name. They Johnson. Yeah, they're doing all of this. And maybe even Vance. Vance sitting around waiting on Trump to die. Trump tried to call a secret meeting, but Trump found out about it. And see, the president, the vice president, not supposed to have those type of meetings. Not legally, without letting the president know. He's probably getting ready to call Article 24. See, the vice president can call for Article 24, which will remove the president and the vice president take over if he can show incompetency on the president's part. But then he has just as much incompetency himself. But look, back to my subject, the minority status. See, when you make people, they made us start. It used to be they used to talk black and white. We started benefiting a little bit, so they started saying minorities to include everyone except white males, who's not a minority when you group everybody else together. And now we're benefiting virtually nothing from these programs. That's why it didn't hurt us when they cut it out. When they cut it out, like I said, it hurt some black women because a lot of them were hired. See, what is that? 22% of all government employees are black females. See, they was considered a double minority, black and female. So why hire a black male when you can hire black female and get two for the price of one? Okay, there was 12% of the federal government black women, 15.5% of state governments, 12.8% of local governments. But see, all of those jobs are vulnerable to budget cuts and policy changes. And see, when you work for any government entity, the federal government, see, if they have contracts and they're funded by the federal government, so so any changes in the federal government, you will be affected even by your local government. If they want certain people fired, they can have them fired. But black white women is getting fired at an even higher number. Because many of them were DEI hires and affirmative action hires. Not black women, not black people. There were some black women benefited from affirmative action, which is good. They should have. Somebody black has to benefit. It'd been good if some black men had, but I'm glad we didn't. So we don't have to worry about this. Black men who had businesses, it was hard for them to get government contracts. So that's why I don't feel sorry for anyone. Well, a black woman, but even but there was a time back in the '60s, right, the civil rights movement, black men were in control. Black men built the Democrat, that voting machine that the Democrats gets to enjoy and benefit from. Black men built that. Jesse Jackson, Roy Ennis, Julian Bond, Andrew Young, and they worked with organizations. They had these co-ops being built, making business all around the nation. We begin to flourish. But you know how they killed it? With feminism. Black women want to take over. It's what black woman out here do shit, do pick up the phone, and black man gone. They gave her welfare and food stamps. She figured like she didn't need the black man no more. They didn't. They said, well, the government put the government didn't put the black man out. You put him out. And the black man, you should have been at a place where your woman shouldn't even have to get on welfare, and she couldn't put you out of nothing because you bought it. But that just wasn't the case because we had many things hindrances in our way. So they instituted affirmative action. Black women started getting those jobs and laughed at the black man and said, at least I can get a job, you can't. I remember that part too. I've been around here a while. I was a kid, I remember. And they tell a black man, I can get a job when you can't. But I'm still glad you got the jobs. I hate you lost them. You weren't very kind to us. I say us, I'm talking about black men. But still, it's good you got the jobs, though. And I don't like the fact that you're losing them. This man is so diabolical. He's even firing his own women, having them drugged down the street by law enforcement, beaten. White men, too. I'm seeing them beat white men. You think black people is going to get in on that? If they'll do it to those people, what do you think we've got coming? They're talking about going into Chicago. Look, you black folks in Washington, D.C., they want to catch you hanging out. I mean, can't you stay off the basketball court for about a month or so? Go home. Go home with your family. Hang out with your family. They want to see you out on the streets in groups. There was this event they had with black teenagers in Washington, D.C. after the occupation. Why you let your kids go out to that? Why you kids, even if you sneaked out? Why would you go do that? Even they had sticks chasing you down the street, you hollering and screaming when you should have been at home. You know what's going on. Stay home. See, we're not going up there protesting, getting involved in stuff. So now they're trying to bring it up in our neighborhoods to us. But don't take that bait. They go after people they see congregating, sitting around smoking together at the basketball court. Don't just leave that alone for now. Come on, grown men. I hung out when I was a teenager. I like hanging out now. Old Jam. Hang out with that TV. But look, yeah, but in same in Chicago, don't let them bait you into coming out there and so they can cause problems for you because it's just a show. Did you know that Obama deported many more people in his term? He was known as deporter in chief. He just didn't put up uh, the show that Trump's putting up. Biden, during the same time period that Trump has had, Biden deported many more people than Trump have. A lot of the people that they arrest, they have to let go. It's all for theatrics. It's all it is theater. They're not really deporting that many people. You say, well, why Obama deported so many people? Good. We don't need all these Latinos here. Look, if I come in your house, I come to your house and say, you see, well, Duncan, you can stay a month, but then you have to go. I come there, clean up, I work, help repair the house, help pay some bills. Then that month, then it's time for me to go. Talking about all what I did, but I still don't live there. It's still not my house, no matter what I did. I've been here 40 years working. You've been disobeying the law for 40 years. You think that's impressing someone? I'm just saying the legal side. No, I'm not talking about my feelings. A lot of times when I express facts, people think that's how I feel. But the fact is, you came here and worked and didn't go through the process. Now it's coming back to haunt you. See, migrant workers all used to always come during the picking season, make a lot of money, see make home to their family, and they could live pretty good in Mexico. Even what's a low wage in the United States is a high wage in Mexico. It helped a lot of them to live good, but they still didn't live here. So I'm just telling you from the government's point of view, because many of them think that because they've been here a while, that they should be allowed to stay. If they should or shouldn't is not for me to decide. I stay out of that because I've been through it with you. I'm out in LA. I know about you. I know the hatred that the Mexicans and most of the Latinos had for black people. Not had, but have. You just want to help right now. And if you all want to go out there in the streets and help them, that's up to you. If you want folks, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not lifting one finger. I did one of those No Kings rallies, the live stream, because that's what I do. And I barely saw a black person out there, which was good. But the few black people I seen had them on in the front, kept carrying the sign on the bullhorns. The people who the police is going to go after first. And they were silly enough to go along with that. Why do we do that? Why do we let people use us like that? They were using those black people, knowing the police would go after them first by them carrying the sign and on the bullhorn. And you still think they care about you? They never showed carrying them in before. You're not no minority, you black. They're the minority. They want to take that title, let them take it. We don't have to accept it. That was invented just to take stuff away from us in case we transfer. It's a chance for us to get something. Because I told you, they kept all the jobs for the people of color, the white women, the Latinos. See, Latinos were the darling immigrant. They let them come over, pick the fruit, go back to Mexico. Some of them would even stay, but something happened. We're in another Reconstruction period. See, every time black people made gains, there was white backlash that took us to another Reconstruction period, which usually would strip us of all our rights and try to take us back to where we was at a long time ago. That's what they're trying to do now, but We're in a different day and age. That stuff that worked back then don't work now. What happened? That they saw as a game. A black man became the president of the United States. That wasn't supposed to happen. That was supposed to be impossible to happen. And then he was reelected. See, what happened is the Latinos who was here, who could vote, they always voted Republican. And they wouldn't vote for black candidates. But when Obama ran, they fooled them. And they voted for Obama. They'll put him in. That's when you start hearing, excuse me, that's when you start hearing people talk about the browning of the United States and how the white people was going to lose their majority status. Because, see, they have to. They can't thrive where they don't run it. The thing I hate is that in Africa. See, all over the world, the majority rule, except when you go around black people. You can go around black people in the minority rules if you're white. Only people in the world who will let people just walk into our land, don't fire a shot, and take everything we got. They're waking up some now over in Africa, but look how long it's been. It should have never started. It's hard to boast on a person who's doing something that they never should have allowed to happen in the first place. People come over, steal all your gold, your minerals. Europe was built off the resources of Africa. Yet, you get the little kids running hungry. People not living like they should in the nation who's making other nations rich. That's why Hitler, you know why one of the reasons he started World War II, he was angry at the Europeans. Said they did all that robbing and pillaging of Africa, and Germany never did get a chance to get in on it. Left them at the party. That's what they were mad about. One of the things Hitler was angry about. He didn't get a chance to rob and pillage Africa like they did. That's why he tried to take their stuff. But one thing he did do during World War II, after the war, the European powers were too weak to hold on to their colonies. That's what started African nations getting their independence. Because they were they were too scary to fight for it. A few of them did, but not on the level that you think they would have. Like Kenya fought. They were led by Jomo Kenyatta, who the nation is named after. He had them to fight. But see, the thing is, because every time they fought them, they ran them out. Over in Africa now, Burkina Faso, Abraham Traore, he ran the French out. Now the economy is suffering because they can't get Africa's stuff anymore. They need to pay back them trillions of dollars they took out of there. And Africa shouldn't pay another dime to the World Bank for loans that those colonial powers took out. You know, some of them are still paying for those loans that the colonial powers took out. Go get it from Britain. Go get it from France. Tell them that. Because you're not getting another penny from us. Many of the African nations are building up their military now because they know the European is not going to take this lying down. It's showing on here. Yeah, so they know they're not going to take it lying down. They tried to kill Abraham Traore over 20 times in Burkina Faso. First they tried to smear him. That didn't work. Those people not thinking about you just like we're not thinking about you over here. Come on, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram saying all kind of stuff about us. The ones who don't even be around black people. We don't even pay y'all no attention no more. You has-beens, you're on the decline. But see the minority status that was put on us, it really stopped our growth in many things that we've started in. They start setting aside for others beside us. They knew that the others was going to dwarf us. But they didn't put white women in there. White women is the single largest big demographics. They even throwing white people out, women out of work, but I'm concerned about the black women. Because see, the reason I'm concerned about the black women because they're after black people. Like I said in the beginning, it's just that black women was a large percentage of government jobs. That's why it's affecting them more because when they started minority labeling, they saw the black female as a double minority, black and female. So why hire a black male when you can just hire a black female? Those jobs are subject to budget cuts or changing policy, which has happened. Yeah, but still, I don't like the fact that women lost their jobs. Even if they did dangle it in our faces. So what? The Well, anytime they do this to his own woman, you know he's diabolical. They're firing black women, beating them in the streets. Well, they don't have us out there. We're not going out there. They can beat whoever they want to beat. I'm not going out there. I didn't go march for black people. I don't march for nothing. Reason I told you before in the beginning of this that I didn't want to go because I didn't want to mess up those people. I don't think it'd be fair for me to mess up those people's protests because I don't believe in peaceful protests. So that's why you're going to see me doing any protests. They come up in this neighborhood, unmarked vans and hoods on, you're going to see my type of protesting. Grabbing people going to take them, you don't know who they are. Especially if they grab some of these women, you don't know what they're taking them women, you know what they're going to do to them. So normally we see these black women fighting and all that, we don't get involved in that, I don't blame you. But if you see one of them being tossed up in one of these vans, I don't care if you despise her. But let's not let that happen. These women and children, these black women and children, I don't care if it's a woman you despise. She can be a drug addict, she can be a prostitute, she just be, and it can be some woman you had a problem with. If you hate her, you're not doing it for her, you're doing it for our people. And they have no business doing any of us. There's no, again, in all black town, there's no immigrants up in here. If you go up in here, we need to give them something to back off for. And we can know who it is. And say, oh, I didn't know you was ICE. I didn't know you was law enforcement. Ain't no ICE. See, legitimate law enforcement is not going to be doing this. Them Proud Boys, Klansmen, Aryan Nation, neo-Nazis up under those hoods. Yeah, but get y'all CCW before they cut that out. We got to be prepared for more than just a protest fight. If they come up with starting something with us, if you can't get your CCW, I tell you right now, I'd rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6. If you get what I mean. Time for playing is out. Trying to prick their conscience and get some fair play out of them. They've been doing that for 400 years. If they haven't gotten it by now, they're not going to get it. We get to treat other people like we treat each other. We get strategic with them. We just go bust each other's head. Do whatever we want to do physically to them. But when you come to these others, We gotta think this through. We gotta be strategic. Not to boycott somebody who hurt your people. What the daddy, the brothers, the family members, the husband. Well, we don't have that many married people around, but your boo, your baby dad and all them. Let them go deal with these people. You don't have to boycott your nail shop that slaps you around. Tell them to do to them what you even do to his folks. I couldn't get away with that. Her people be on me so quick. When it comes to these other people, you want to go out there and boycott them. We got to get all this white supremacy thinking out of our minds. Most of us got a lot of it in us, even if we don't realize it. I still have to catch myself sometimes. Yeah, but we need to look out. But as I said, this area is kind of safe because they're not coming into St. Louis. Like I see a red state, white mayor. You have to be blue state, black mayor for them to come in. Boy, this California governor, he's clowning Trump all over the place. He's got Trump so upset. I mean, he's just clowning Trump. He can't take it. Trump's a coward. He knows when people push back, he gives in. He can't take any pushback. That's why I say we have to be ready for whatever come our way, and we will be. We always have been. Like I say that stuff everybody is crying about. We've been through it already more than once. Now we're in another Reconstruction period. Then stripped all our rights away. Well, then they wouldn't abide and buy it anyway. But just a lot of white people not going along with that stuff they're doing now, like they did back then. They're angry because they're out there protesting, getting their cranium cracked, their dome split. Then they hear from the distance somebody putting boots on the ground, having fun. So that's not. We go out there, they're gonna come after us quick. I saw where they had these women. They were either Arab or white women. They were fighting with the police. They were grabbing those women and hitting the men, and they were saying it was a disturbance. They know if that was black men and women, it would have been a riot. It would have been called a riot. You people thought you were doing something smart, getting all these special statuses ahead of us and laugh at us. Now you want our help. See, if you've been in this nation for 400 years and your white privilege hasn't gotten you anywhere, you're just a loser. And you're just a loser. White people fumbled this nation. You was in control of it. You let that man get in. You voted for him. You always did vote for people like that. You know that during World War II, when they went to the United States to enter the World War II, one third of black people in I'm sorry, one third of white people in this country got, so they said Americans, Back then, when they say Americans, they're talking about white people. One third of those white folks wanted to enter into the war. One third of this nation wanted to enter the World War II on the side of Hitler to help Hitler out. They wanted to kill Jews because back then Jews was hated in this country around the world, second only to black people. So, they don't really come for democracy as much as they claim they do. First chance after a black man was elected, they found the worst person that they could. Black progress, white backlash. This is the third Reconstruction period. The first was right after slavery when they cheated us out of all my reparations. The second was right after around in the early 1900s when they instituted Jim Crow, then segregation. Now they're trying occupation. All because a black man became president. That was not supposed to happen, but it did. And they can't live with it. They can't live with it. They have to be in control. They can't thrive when they're not in control. You see, with the problem is with black people, we let them take control, even though we're the majority. Only place in the world where the minority can rule is white people with black people. Come and take your land and everything without a shot being fired. And then you want to holler about the ancestors. The ancestors couldn't take care of themselves. They're going to take care of you. The ancestors. They can take care of themselves. What they going to do for you? Look, you're given the ability to help yourself. God, if you can say, pray and say, ask God to do things for you, and you just sit on your butt and don't do nothing. Then you would say, He didn't come through. No, you didn't do your part. He ain't gonna come down and just swoop you up. Sometimes you gotta pray, give me the strength and knock the you know what out of them. And He'll give it to you. And see, the minority status, it was really one of the worst things they could have done to us. Because now everyone has to be catered to when it comes to our stuff. But they don't want to go through what we go through. We go through a lot. All they're going through, we've been through it, been there, done that. They're separating families, taking the babies from the mother. Well, they took it from black mothers' arms. They go, she have a baby, they take the baby, sell her baby. Black man got a family, sell his whole family from up under him. Then take the children and sell them to a different place from the mother. And you think you've been through something? Well, this in modern time, because when it was still happening, I'm just showing how what they're going through, we've been there, done that. Sending people up in your neighborhood to harass you, and been there, done that. Ever since black people been in this nation, we got proof of what we are. And during the Jim Crow era, black man can be seen in town dressed up during the day. Black man was with a light skinned woman, he had to prove she wasn't white. Black person had a nice car, they get pulled over. Gotta prove it's their car. During the civil rights movement, Jet and Ebony, a lot of people criticized because they had white photographers. They had to hire white photographers because the black photographers kept getting arrested, being accused of stealing their cameras and their equipment. That's why these black publications had white photographers. And so every step of the way, we always had to prove ourselves that we're this, that we're that. Stop proving yourself. We don't need to prove that we're good people. They need to want to prove to us that they are. We haven't done anything anymore as a people. They have. As a people, we're some of the best people there is. We're the best people on the face of the planet as a people. Individually, we ain't, you know what? We do some dirty stuff to each other, mostly to each other. But collectively as a people, we're some good, kind people. Fought for everybody's rights. Even when white people are in distress, homeless, in trouble, where do they have to come? To the black areas. They know they're going to get some help. But you try to let some black people go up in their areas. See what happens. Out in the segregation area, they Jim Crow couldn't go to the pool, paying taxes on it. Couldn't go to the library, paying taxes on it. So King said, let's integrate it. We can't be paying our money. And then we do talk about separate but equal. Yours built up real nice and ours a piece of junk. At East St. Louis Senior High School, they don't have a swimming pool. They had one. Many of you people probably know this story. When they start allowing black children to go to the east side, people in this town know what I'm talking about, in this area. I know people watch from all around the world, but the people in this area know what I'm talking about. But look, when black kids start coming there, they they filled in the pool, put a gym floor over it, and called it the girls' gym. There used to be a pool there, swimming pool. Many people in this town, there's a theater called the Majestic Theater. They want to renovate it too much has history. Not our history. The reason that the Majestic Theater had to close was because during integration, they just started letting black people in. And they decided to close down than rather to let black people in. And that's some history you want to preserve. Tear that mess down. Rebuild downtown with some new stuff. Tear the old junk down. If you could fix it, you'd have fixed it by now. Get rid of it. Put new efficient buildings here. This is not our history, it's their history. I can see if it was our history. Maybe I almost can see if it was our history. But that's not even our history, that's their history. We're talking about make East St. Louis the all American city again. You're not gonna do that when white folks are here. They'd never deem you all American. They did that because white folks was here. Not because of you. Veer off a little bit before I go. I was seeing a story where they were saying American women, the women in the United States, I don't like saying America because anyone on the American continent is Americans. Mexicans are Americans. Canadians are Americans. People in the United States don't hold the monopoly on being American. People down in Argentina, Brazil, they're Americans. But they say that, but you know what I'm talking about, the women in the United States are not having enough babies. You know what they mean by that? I saw this woman out online talking about why she don't want to have babies and all that, brought old hood perspective to it. She wasn't talking about you, black woman. It's about white women. They don't want you to have any. It's about white women. That's why Trump wanted to stop abortion. A lot of people didn't know that. He wanted white women to have more babies. But we didn't realize it wasn't helping black people any because abortion wasn't because one reason the black population is below what it was in the 60s is because black women killed over 28 million babies. Can't grow like that. And see, wherever the government designed so they could kill babies, no, it wasn't. Those are black. I know what they're talking about. That one white group that they want abortion so black people can kill babies, but it was in the government policy because, in fact, when the government first instituted it, they didn't want black women to get it. A feminist by the name of Dorothy Height and Maxine Waters, who was in her first term as a U.S. Senator. I'm sorry, U.S. Congresswoman. They had to take it all the way to the Supreme Court to get black women to be able to have abortions, state-sponsored abortions. But like I say, anything sponsored by the state gives it, the state takes away. They're going to tell you what to do and how to do it. They're not telling you what to do with your body. They're telling you what to do with that fetus. You need to get that wording corrected. You do everything else with your body, not in on that. But you if you're going to allow the government in on something, my point is that they're going to have a say so. And then say pay for this, then me have that, and you don't have no say so. Where's men voting on that? You know what? Every time the men voted, they voted for Roe versus Wade, and they would have this time. It's just that they took it, the Supreme Court did it. Trump said he was going to stack the courts, stop abortion, not because he loved folks so much. No, he's trying to stop the browning of the country. Want white women to have more babies. And see what happened is they took it all the way to the Supreme Court for black women to get it. But black women have to realize you've been depending on the government for a lot of stuff, and they'll take it back and scale it and do whatever they want to any time they get ready. Because you say, well, men voting on it, you know how this country works. People vote. You can't say men should only vote on men issue, women vote on the women issue, Latinos vote on the Latino issues. You know it don't work like that. The people who are in Congress are the ones who's going to vote, be it male or female. But they just didn't get the opportunity to do it last time. The courts made this decision. I don't like what I see now, what's going on with the women. In abortion, I'd rather see Roe versus Wade and see what's going on right now. I'd rather they reinstitute Roe versus Wade. And they're really catching it now. The women that want an abortion, they really catching the bag. But man, yeah, dead fetuses in them, and doctors don't want to deal with it, thinking they're going to get arrested. You got to use some common sense with it. Even if you wanted to stop abortion, there's always some exceptions. Well, they were using abortion for birth control. Well, many black women were, but so were white women. But the thing is, there's abuses in every system, but they only stop to try to shut something down when it's people using that system who they don't like. Because the billionaires, they get everything they want, but that's glitches in their system, but they don't shut it down. But people who you don't like, you want to you, they have to cross every T and dot every I. They can't make any mistakes. If they do, you're gonna be all over it, just to make them suffer needlessly. But what I say, the less you depend on the government, the better off you are. So the jobs come and they go. Like I say, they're after black people. They're not after black women. Just about you having more federal, not federal, you have more government jobs. It makes it appear as though they're just after black women. Go. So everybody done swept black men off the map. People don't even mention this. Yeah, they see black women, and that's it. But if that's the way you want it, we can take that. We build our own. Don't want to do that, but if that's what the women want, to eliminate us from their lives, we just have to do that. So making some kids, some light skinned kids with sandy red looking hair. If y'all wanna go, we see these other men don't like y'all like that. They just want to take you to the motel. So really, we all you got. I'm not talking about this exception here and there. I'm talking about in numbers. If they would have, they would have. You'd be with them if you could, because you don't like us. No, that's a whole nother matter. I'm not going to get off into that. I started it, but I'm going to stop it because I can. But look, yeah, when we got that minority status, it just kept us out of a lot of stuff, from benefiting a lot of stuff. They got us in with everyone else. The same minority who hate us. Those people from India, they really hate the Arabs, as y'all say Arabs, but the Arabs, they hate us. They come in and make money because that's where they can get along and start a business at. Now, I wouldn't do nothing if I saw ICE come and pull some of these Arabs and Koreans, whoever owning these nail shops not up out of here. I wouldn't feel bad about that. That'd be their people's problem to get them back. Now, I'm gonna get ready to go, but uh, New Shining Light Holiness Deliverance Non-Denominational Church is having a toy drive to raise to raise Christmas toys. They're loaded at 740 Broadway in Venice, Illinois, with Bishop John H. Williams as the pastor. So stop by there and deliver some toys. Or call. I don't have the church number with me right now, but you can look it up and call the church number and let them know you want to deliver some toys. And if you don't have any toys, then you could bring some by on Sunday morning. And then I'm gonna get that address for you can see. Just bring it by the church, and if you don't have toys, you can give a donation to the church to buy toys. The address is 740 Broadway in Venice, Illinois. Bishop John H. Williams passed. This is their logo. New Shining Light. Watch them on YouTube. On City of Champions Media on YouTube. You can see the entire service. Also, you have Mount Zion, New Mount Zion Primitive Baptist Church at 43rd and Converse in Cahokia Heights, Illinois. Go by there sometime and worship with them. Their pastor is Elder Roger Allen, who happens to be my brother. Elder Roger Allen, go by there, because when you look at him, you'll see how much we resemble each other. Or, go to a church of your choice. So, but yeah, getting back to our subject, I don't think I better get ready to call it a night because I'm getting sleepy. I'm starting to repeat myself. I've been still coming on earlier. Yeah, but thanks for tuning in. But remember, to you people who have National Guard ICE who are in or coming to your community, stay out of their way. Don't join any of those protests. I'm just saying my opinion because I can't tell you what to do. Especially grown men and women, I can't tell you what to do. In my opinion, I don't think it'd be good for you. And you people who still killing folks in Chicago, cut it out. You're giving them reasons. Stop giving them reasons. Some of these old gnats are not there now. You don't give them reasons to come. But they're coming anyway. Because you're in a blue state with a black mayor. St. Louis, Missouri is safe. It's in a red state with a white mayor. But if you're in a blue state with a black mayor, they're coming for you. Get ready. Don't let them take your people. Kicking and screaming, throwing them in a van. Instead of you laying down, leave them out there. Make sure they leave out that way. You laying in the van 10 toes up. Make sure they leave out that way. We don't have time to play. They might come get me for that one, but won't be nothing new. Hit my cash app if you can so I can start presenting more shows with more guests. And like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. Because now we can't trust the mainstream media anymore. They're an agent of the White House now, Trump. So we can be careful who you talk to about stuff also. Can't talk to everybody and tell everybody everything. So I'm gonna call it a night tonight. I am getting a little sleepy, but look, remember to be careful out here, no matter who they deploy on your streets. Stop all these crimes, giving them reasons to do it. Hang out at home with your family. But I tell you, grown men hanging out, oh no, it just seems childish to me. May not be, if that's what they want to do, but it just seems a bit childish to me. I hung out when I was in high school. Just speaking of myself, everyone don't do the same. Oh well, I should have waited till tomorrow because I came on here sleepy, right? To be honest with you. But thank you for tuning in. Be sure to hit my cash app now. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in to No More Water. I'm going to rush my words. I know I'm sleepy now. Thank you for tuning in to No More Water. Bye. Next time. Now, I'm gonna try to have a guest on with me next time, but yeah, I'll do that. But all right, good night. Let's get off here before I fall asleep. Thank you for tuning in. No more water. Bye. Next time.